All right, guys, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about some tips I have for freshman year of college. These are things that I wish I knew. These are also some things that I actually did do that worked very well for me in freshman year. So we're going to be going through some of these. I have a list over here on my computer screen. Now, I am a junior in college, so I've been through a lot of it. I have experienced a lot of different things. I kind of know what works, what doesn't. Of course, not everything is going to work for everybody, but you guys just need to know kind of who you are and take what you want from this, because some of them will be rather unorthodox, and then some will be the things you probably heard over and over, but you just need to do it because it really does work. So with that being said, if you guys could drop a like, subscribe, and that'll keep you up to date with the channel and really help me out. I'd appreciate it. So with that being said, let's start with kind of a more unorthodox tip, and it's something you might have heard before, but obviously a lot of the teachers and probably a lot of the times some of your parents are going to say, you should always be buying your textbooks. And that's just not true. As weird as it sounds, you don't need textbooks for a lot of your classes. A lot of the stuff is just going to be right in front of you in the class. If you're writing notes, if you're really good at remembering things, you don't need the textbooks. For instance, I didn't buy a textbook all of last year, actually, during sophomore year. I only bought the ones that I absolutely had to, which were the online textbooks that provide the homework. So the only reason I bought it was so that I could actually do the homework. But you don't need to buy all your textbooks. They cost a ton of money. They honestly are going to be practically thrown in the garbage right after you're done with them because they try to update them to get a new one. So you don't need to always buy them. And there's just one more little point I want to add, and that's not to say that you can't change your mind later. I'm just saying don't buy your textbooks day one right when they tell you you need a textbook. You'll see, if after a week you don't need the textbook, wait 2 weeks. If you still don't need the textbook, wait 3. You just keep going. If you don't need the textbook, you don't need it. If you need it all of a sudden, well, go ahead, go buy it. So just don't rush on it right away. That's the best thing, because you can always change your mind later if you didn't buy it, but if you did buy it, you're not usually going to be able to return it. So just be careful about that. Sometimes, you might have a little tip in there that wasn't in the class, or you have a really hard class that you do need to focus on a little bit more, and there's all the information in the textbooks, but a lot of the time you have all the information right in front of you in the class. You'll have it through other places, like online if you need to look something up. And if you do need the textbook, a lot of the time you can rent them. So that's something to keep in mind. Definitely look on Amazon, look at other places if you can rent them. If not, you might not even have to buy them in the first place because they say you need them. They might even say in the class on the first day, it's required. You need the textbook. You're not going to be able to do this class without it. That's just not true. And I've been through it time and time again. They tell me I need the textbook. You don't even use it, maybe one time. And that's just something that's ridiculous considering how much money you're already paying and how much money those textbooks cost. And obviously that's not going to work for everybody. It's just something to keep in mind for some of you that often don't feel like you need to be reading textbooks. Maybe you absolutely hate reading textbooks and there's just other ways to learn it, rereading your notes or maybe just taking notes in class in the first place. So not for everybody, but definitely something to keep in mind. Now, the next thing I'm going to say, sometimes they tell you this a lot at things like orientation. Sometimes they don't mention it at all. But flip-flops for showering in the dorms is by far the most important thing I can think of. Like, I would not take a shower if I didn't have my flip-flops there. And you just need to buy like cheap $1 flip-flops. Like, I swear you can get some at like the dollar store. They don't need to be nice. They're going to be getting gross anyways. But you don't want to be stepping on the floor of the showers in the dorms. There is just all sorts of things going on the floors that you don't even want to know about, you do not want to experience, and you definitely do not want to step in. So just wear flip-flops to the shower. You don't have to get your feet dirty. You don't have to pick up whatever diseases might be on the floor, and you're going to be saving yourself a lot of heartache. Flip-flops, number one key, do not forget them. It doesn't matter if you have a nice dorm, get flip-flops, no doubt. Now, another thing that I want to talk about that does have to do directly with the dorms is that when you're washing your clothes and stuff, don't leave them in the washer or the dryer. Now, this is for a number of reasons. One, you're going to be leaving your stuff there so no one else can use it, but maybe it won't even turn out to be that way because people don't care. They're just going to take your stuff out and they're going to throw it wherever so they can use it. If they see someone's stuff has been sitting there for like 15 minutes or even shorter, sometimes 5-10 minutes, they're just going to take it out. They're going to put it on top. It's going to get dusty or dirty or on the floor, wherever it's going to be. And that's just not something you want, especially when sometimes you're going to be paying money to do your laundry. You don't want to just have to redo it for no reason because you weren't paying attention. So just set a timer or something, come back for it, move it out of there, and that way you won't have to deal with that. Also, sometimes people will actually steal things, and yes, this does happen. I go to a very nice school, University of Oregon, and things get stolen. Luckily, I didn't have any of my stuff get stolen because I did try to keep track of it, but I have heard of things getting stolen out of the dryers, out of the washers or whatever. So if you have nice clothes or if you have things you like, could happen if you're not keeping track of it. So you don't want that to happen to you. Okay, so this tip is something that I might put at the very top of my list with the flip-flop tip, and that is to write down your homework. I'm serious. It might sound like high school. It might sound like, it's such a little tedious process that you don't need to do that. You're in college, whatever, you can handle it. But there's so much going on when you're in college that you just can't keep track of your homework all the time and you forget about things. So I don't care if it's a planner or a digital thing or if it's in your phone or on your computer, whatever it may be, just write it down, keep track of it, because it's going to be tough to remember. You're going to have things you're going to want to do if you want to go to sporting events or whatever, or you're playing intramural sports or going out to party or going to the gym. You have a lot of stuff going on. You have a lot of people around that can be distracting to you, and you want to make sure you can keep track of it, because homework is kind of next in my part 2 here of this, is a ton of your grade in your classes. It's kind of like high school. Yeah, you hear it over and over, but doing your homework gives you so much leeway for being able to, kind of do worse on a test and all that. And if you just get 100% of your homework points, which is not hard, homework is not some hard thing in college. It's very easy and manageable most of the time. You just need to do it, and that's all that matters. Just do it. You get all your points. You save yourself some headache. You also save yourself from panicking last second, at 11 o'clock. Shoot, I had the assignment I forgot about. You already knew it because you already did it all, or you wrote it down. And again, a part 3 of all this is that you should just do your homework in advance sometimes. No one wants to have to think about homework every single night of the week, and usually you'll get it in advance. So maybe on Sunday, you just sit down and do most of your homework for the week, and you don't have to worry about it. You have all your points taken care of, nothing to forget about. If something goes wrong, you don't have to stress about doing whatever happened, plus your homework. It just makes life a lot easier, and you can focus on exactly what you want to focus on. Okay, and so for another tip that, again, might not sound great for some of you guys, might feel distracting or whatever, is that you need to keep doing what you like to do. And I'm talking whether that's playing Xbox, whether that's photography, whether that's, making music on your computer through FL Studio, whatever it might be, you need to make sure you keep doing that. And if that means bringing an Xbox with you, seriously, just bring it. Because a lot of people get so stressed because there's so much going on. They have so much stress for their grades to make everything perfect. And you kind of lose track of the fun stuff sometimes, and you feel like you can't even unwind. So if Xbox is something that helps you unwind, if making beats on FL Studio, if going out and taking photos is something that you value and is something that makes you happy and makes you relax, that's something you definitely need to keep in mind and bring with you, because you can have a lot going on, and if you're not happy and you're not feeling relaxed ever, it doesn't matter. Your grades are still going to suffer. So if you think your grades are going to suffer because you're playing Xbox sometimes, well, sometimes that might work for some people, or that might affect some people. But most of the time, if you're just able to get a little bit of relaxation, you're going to be able to study so much easier. You're going to be able to work on your homework at a much better pace because you're not constantly stressed and overthinking things. So I actually think that you definitely need to keep things like, gaming or photography or all the things I already mentioned many times. You need to keep them in mind. You need to keep doing the things you like, because it's a perfect way to kind of remember that in the big picture, it's not the end of the world. This one homework assignment, it'll get done. The one test you have next Friday or whatever, don't worry about it. You can still enjoy things. You'll find time to study, but you need time to have fun as well. So this one is very basic, but there's a flip side to both of them. It's go to class and don't go to class sometimes. The weird thing about that is you should always go to class when you can. If you're feeling, just lazy, just get up. You're paying so much money to be in college. It's like 4 years. Yes, you're going to have a job after or whatever, but you're here for 4 years. Just go to your classes most of the time. Now, on the flip side, though, you should know when you have a limit. If you're someone that feels like they've always gone to class every single time, if you miss it, it's the end of the world. It is not. It's just going to be easier if you're going to classes. It's worth it to go to your classes. But if you know you're at a wall and you just need some time off, or if you have homework you're behind on and you really need to catch up, you don't always have to balance everything. It's okay to take a break sometimes and just say, okay, you know what? I've got too much going on. Missing this class, it might feel weird. It's not actually the end of the world. It would have been helpful to go, but it's going to be much more helpful for me to finally catch up on some sleep, or to finally catch up on some homework or things like that. So you need to know your limits, and it's okay to know your limits and kind of say, I got to take a pause on the classes. So know what's good for you. Don't be afraid to skip class. It's not going to be the end of the world. Sometimes you'll have classes you know that this one you cannot miss. And of course, just try to skip a different one if you really need some time off. But if you don't need time off, if you know you're kind of doing okay, but you're just feeling lazy, just get up, go to class. It's going to be, what, an hour and a half or so, and you'll be back and you'll feel better after you've done it. So just go to class most of the time. It'll help you out and keep track of all your homework and extra, they might offer extra credit in that class for that day. They might assign a new assignment that you wouldn't have heard about otherwise. So it's definitely a thing you should obviously be doing. You're not going to be passing your classes if you never go to class, but if you need to take time off sometimes, don't be afraid to do so. So this one's kind of a basic tip. I said to write your notes in Google Docs. Now the reasoning for this is because it is constantly auto-saving. It's very easy to share your notes. Not only is it easy to share your notes, but it's easy to transport your notes from one computer to your phone or whatnot, and it just saves a lot of time in the long run. I know other programs can do the auto-saving and whatnot, but I think Google Docs is by far the best. It's just easy to use. You can always transport the files to whatever file type you need for whatever assignment it may be. You can transfer it, like I said, very easily. So just think about using Google Docs. If you're not going to use Google Docs, use something that's always auto-saving, because that's the biggest thing. Your computer's going to be dying, your laptop will be dying, whatever it may be, and you want your notes to be saved. So that's a headache that is waiting to happen if you don't have a good note-taking system. And my last thing is make sure you go into the gym. I don't care if you're super fat, if you're super skinny, if you're already a big gym person, you would already be going in the first place anyways, but it definitely makes you feel better. I cannot stress it enough. You will feel so much better if you're either losing weight, if you're overweight, if you're gaining muscle, if you're skinny, any of that stuff can be tough, and going to the gym, it fixes everything for everyone. So just stick with it. It'll keep you motivated. It'll keep you happier. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it with people that experience that firsthand. I've been going to the gym for a while, and it's something that I value so highly. So just finally get in the gym. I don't care if it's your first time. It doesn't matter. It's going to make you feel better. In a year from now, you'll be thanking yourself that you finally committed to this, because you'll see results, whether it's gaining muscle, losing weight, it doesn't matter. It's always beneficial, and it's something you should keep in mind. And especially with some of the college food, it can be very fattening, can be very hard for people. It'll keep you in a better routine, and maybe even kind of make you think about what you're eating. Maybe if you want to try to tone down a little bit of the sugar, the fats or whatnot, it'll make things a lot easier for your life in general. So with that being said, those are some of my tips. If you guys do want a part 2 of this, I do have a ton more tips to share with you. So drop a like, let me know in the comments down below, and subscribe so you see that next video. I also do have some other college videos on my channel as well. I might link them in the description. Otherwise, you can just go through my channel and scroll down, maybe 5-10 videos. They'll be up there. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I will be making more, actually. There's one I want to make. It's about the scam with college online access codes. Actually, one professor kind of exposed some things, and it's just shocking. So I'm going to be making a video on that soon. Definitely subscribe to check that out. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.